What do you think he's found, or what have you guys worked through collectively to get him to this comfort spot right now that he's playing in?
Well, I certainly think starting him helps.
Yeah.
I think in a couple ways. One is it allows us to have kind of longer runs with him on the floor, and he really benefits from those because he can kind of get hot, over a small period of time, but you just never know when that's going to come. He plays probably a little bit more, with guys that he has a natural chemistry with, like Julius. I think these are things, and I think he's comfortable with, the things that we, comfortable with, kind of the things we expect from him in how we use them. And I don't think he was really comfortable as a movement shooter last year. Like he certainly can be. We need that. We use that a lot, and I think he was always more played out of a spot-up rhythm. So I think that was an adjustment for him. And he actually shot the ball really well in those situations, so I think he gained confidence there. Defensively, he's way more solid. He still brings a ton of juice there. Scrappy, we love that. But, last year I thought he gambled and kind of played outside of our scheme too much, just trying to make things happen. And so I think all that he's, way more comfortable with too.
Yeah, he did mention last night that he's trying to gamble less, or he feels like he knows where people are more, and so maybe that makes him be just a little more solid and sound.
Yeah,
that's what you're looking for there.
And some of that just like slightly different rotations in our scheme. Playing with Rudy, there's some kind of feel and nuance that goes with that. We've actually really started putting him on ball more. We feel he's really good there, and that also kind of takes away some of his tendency to want to gamble, So he's been super competitive there. I think there's a lot of things that add up to it.
We always talk about Rudy unto himself as like a top 5 defense or whatever. Is Jaylen moving into that territory with his stints? I mean, just like it seems like you can put him with anybody, and he leads the team in defensive rating, and he's eating up a lot of the Nas and Julius minutes and all that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And plus, he's such a possessions guy too. So you want to drive, great defense, get steals and stuff like that. So I think he's a guy that's certainly feared. Guys don't want to handle against him, which that kind of changes the dynamic right away. It makes teams adjust even before they are trying to do anything else. So just trying to kind of survive him. We need him to rebound a little bit better consistently. He has the ability to do that. I think when he can rebound at a higher level, like he can move to just, to the elites.
We talk about it all the time, but he's second on your team in offensive rebounding rate, and the defensive one is low. Do you see that as like the on-ball thing, or what do you see about can be different on that and when he is doing really well on the other?
Yeah, it's of course some of it is away from the shot when the shot is taken, but I also think he can get back in there. He's such a great nose for the ball. I would say he can be a rebounder more like Dante. Dante will go into a pack of people and go get the ball, and I think Jaylen has that. I think certainly has that quality in him.
How hard is it for a team like you've probably gone against guys like this to run your offense when you're not initiating it the way that you would normally like to, or through the person you would normally like to?
Well, we lean a lot just on our kind of open flow stuff, and it's always been, I think, one of the benefits of it is that you don't have to have a natural initiator. So when we do that right now, we've been really, really good. Helping Ant find his moments and ways to kind of manipulate that for himself has been kind of fun to learn at the moment for both of us. I mean, and he's he's doing a good job. I think he's settling into a rhythm there, and I think so it's going to continue to take time. We got to train ourselves, I think, in other ways to look for stuff. Like, hey, when Ant's at the bottom of the floor, we need to treat him as we would in other off-ball situations. It's one thing that we haven't been able to kind of just flip to is when Ant sees so much attention on the ball, we try to move him off the ball, and now we've got to figure out, a step or two to get to that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Do you think with the Nas and Julius thing is like Jaylen a requirement out there? Because we've seen the success there, and you went back to the two guys without Jaylen in the fourth against Denver, and obviously they scored like 36 that quarter. Does he just feel more and more like he's got to be out there with those guys?
Around the Nas and Julius lineup, sure, like Jaylen, Jaden as wing players, Mike, super solid, all really high IQ defenders. That really is going to help. And there's other things that we'll keep toggling with. Do we have Julius on the 5 and switch? Do we have Nas on the 5 and coverage? Do we do vice versa? I think last year we settled into a bit of a rhythm and understanding of the types of teams we were playing and what we had to do. And this year, we just kind of also searching through that.
Along those lines, when you have that kind of perimeter defensive-minded personnel out there with that group, what is sort of the relationship between perimeter defense and rim protection, and how much perimeter defense can compensate for the lack of rim protection when Rudy's not out?
Our perimeter defense has to start on the ball in everything we do, really. But now with that one, you don't have that deterrence factor as much. I think generally, when Rudy leaves the floor, teams make it a stated goal to go more, so that puts even more pressure on you because they're coming. One of the kind of drivers of any success that second unit defense has had historically is that we don't give up a lot of threes. That's because people are driving us. So we got to be really good at the point of attack. We got to be really good in the gaps, and those guys are certainly really good at that. But we've done a lot of switching with that lineup too, which to slow people down.
Have you seen Jaylen's we were talking about this, about being a defensive guy in the league, especially when it comes to officials, and what they are not going to allow. If you have the reputation of being an aggressive defensive player, they may or may not. Have you seen him progress with that and his just relationship with what
I don't think he's kind of, I don't think he's kind of reached any level of status in the officials' eyes right now. I think he makes his plays, kind of honestly and genuinely, and he probably doesn't get the benefit of some foul calls that other elite defenders do, and he's got to continue to earn that. There's no doubt about it. So one thing he's got to get a little bit better at is he does commit some fouls that are controllable when we're in the bonus, and then oftentimes when he comes in the game, we are in the bonus, or our opponents are. So I think those are things he's got to get a little bit better at.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, guys.